broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. Thank you for joining us on episode 37 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom, here with Trevor and Damon as usual, and I'm back this week. I know you guys missed me so much.
It's not the same without.
Yeah.
Again, it's funny
It's
because
weird, right?
I listened to, since I was away, I listened to a lot of different podcasts, and again, it's funny to me, but I always find the ones that have two people a little like. You know, they're interesting sometimes, right?
Sure.
But the topic has to be super interesting. When there's three people, it always seems better.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree, but I mean, I feel like there's also an interesting dynamic sometimes when there's two people, depending on the two-person combination, I guess, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
But
I think we
you're
had fun.
Yeah, you guys had a great show last week. So it's funny because we get emails and messages all the time on Facebook of people saying that they were arguing with us, like while they were listening to us, like they were arguing with their radio or arguing with their phone or whatever they listened to us on. And I found myself doing that as I listened to the last episode, and I'm sitting there like, and you guys are talking about stuff, and I'm like not yelling at my radio, but I'm like trying to talk to you guys because I'm used to being able to respond to these things, especially when you guys are giving me a hard time about things. So,
well, that's more fun for us when you're not around because then you can't say anything.
I mean, it's exactly right. So because I get to make the topics, I decided to make a What Tom Missed speed round because I want to comment on a few things, and I'm going to do it fast. But I just wanted to throw a couple things.
Dude, you got a minute. That's
All
it.
right.
60 seconds.
Fine, I'll do it fast. All right, so number one, baby centers. That was an awesome share by that listener. Thank you for sharing that. I am so psyched to use those. That is a huge thing to use. I think it's going to be great for when we actually go and we have our little one there with us. Riviera. We were talking about the different room sizes. Part of me wishes that they would just build a resort that's just all studios. How great would that be?
That's horrible.
Great
That's
idea.
horrible.
It's an amazing idea.
Worst
Studios are
idea
hard to
ever.
come by. Studios are hard to come by.
Have a few more kids and let me know how that works out for you. That's a horrible idea.
And Illuminations. I know you guys are down on Illuminations. I love Illuminations. I will go to my grave saying I love Illuminations. I will miss it when it's gone. I don't necessarily think it is time for it for a new show to come along, but I will miss it, and I love that show, and I'm sad that it's going to be gone. So that's all I got for that. And then sauces. Sauces are important.
Dude, don't even talk about sauces because we're going to talk about sauces later now that I win.
We will get to the saucening.
We will get to the sauces.
I swear, I was laughing so hard when you guys were talking about sauces for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Wait, so there's this first one is a cruise one?
Yeah, so we got a Disney the DVC cruise review.
Oh, do I get to read this one then?
Sure, if you want to. It's a long
Wait,
one.
have you guys been on a Disney cruise?
I have not been.
Nope, then you don't get to read it then. Sorry.
Okay, you know what? Then you can take this one from Kathy because Kathy wrote us a long email. So have fun reading all this.
Oh, I have no problem with that. All right, everybody. So this is from Kathy, and this is DVC Cruise Review. I recently started listening to your podcast and have been enjoying the episodes during my long commute to work. I've been a DVC member for 11 years and own an Animal Kingdom Lodge and Saratoga Springs. I recently went on my first DVC cruise, congratulations, and wanted to provide feedback in case this is something you're covering in an upcoming episode. I think I covered it once. I went on the Halloween cruise, but anyway.
We did, but never a DVC cruise. The DVC member
Yes, this is the member cruise, correct.
Yep.
This cruise was my 8th Disney cruise, but our first DVC members cruise. My traveling party included my husband, James, my 2-year-old daughter, Maya, and myself, Kathy. We paid for one adult using points and the other adult and child using cash, which was a nice way to balance the cost for our family. See, and that's interesting because I often thought about that.
That's really interesting to do it that way.
Yep. The DVC cruise was from July 23rd to 27th this year on the Disney Dream, and we had 2 stops at Disney's private island, Castaway Cay. Right? Just so we're all on the same page
Key.
there.
That's correct.
Key.
It's not K.
I know it is. I was just making the point there. So I've actually done this cruise non-DVC member, the 2 stops. Phenomenal. Anyway, the DVC cruise had special guests and presentations, which we loved. This part of the cruise reminded us a lot of D23, which we've been to twice. Very jealous. But we enjoyed the more laid-back atmosphere and smaller crowds of the cruise. We enjoyed watching tons of sneak peeks from Ralph Breaks the Internet, as well as watching the world premiere of Christopher Robin 1 week before it opened in theaters. We went to lots of presentations and heard from Disney screenwriters, directors, composers, and animators about how movies such as Zootopia, Moana, Up and Inside Out,
Inside Out.
Okay.
Out.
So it's a typo here, Kathy, but we won't hold it against you. It was probably Tom's fault anyway.
What?
We even had an actual Disney on board, Roy P. Disney, grandson of Walt's brother, Roy O. Disney. We got to hear stories from Roy on what it was like growing up and hanging out in Walt's apartment in Disneyland. He even showed us pictures of himself as a kid standing on a mound of dirt where Magic Kingdom and Walt Disney World stands today. That's awesome.
That's an amazing picture.
I am so jealous.
The 2 days of Castaway Cay each had a special theme. The first one was celebrating Mickey and Minnie's 90-year anniversary. They had a special fireworks show on board that night, and the voice actors for Goofy and Mickey sang live on stage right before the fireworks went off. On the second Castaway Cay day, the theme was Island of Heroes. On this day, characters were all wearing superhero costumes, which was neat and unique. Now, Marvel costumes?
Yeah,
that's my question. So, Kathy, if again, just reply. My guess is yes, though, right?
But is it that like Mickey was wearing like an Iron Man costume, or was like Iron Man there?
I think it might be how like when the Disney characters dress up for Halloween and stuff. It's like
okay, gotcha.
That makes sense.
All right.
Generic superhero.
All right, we still got a little more left, though. All right, one more really special thing about the Members Cruise is that the gifts we got in our room twice a day. Some of the gifts we got were Disney Members Cruise hats. Okay, we got those too. Disney Member Cruise duffel bags. Yeah, I got those too. Matching messenger bags. Did not get those. DVC Members Cruise wireless speakers. Okay. DVC Members Cruise pins. That's awesome. Tervis mug. Awesome. A signed copy of the coffee table book, Eat Like Walt. Awesome. And so much more stuff I can't even name it all. We went home with 2 extra bags full of gifts.
Wow.
July 23rd was my birthday. Happy belated birthday. And the day we boarded. We happened to go to Epcot that morning, so I already had a birthday button, but they gave me a Disney Cruise button as well. Damon will be happy to hear that I only wore my birthday button on my actual birthday, even though we were at Disney for 2 weeks. Dude, I give much respect to that. I love that.
I love that you're reading this for that reason.
We also stayed at 4 DVC resorts. Hilton Head Island. Help me out here.
Boardwalk Villas.
Thank you. Animal Kingdom, Jumbo House, and Boulder Creek. During this trip, it was 3 years worth of points. Oh, wow. That's pretty good.
That's crazy.
We had a great trip, and thanks to buying DVC 11 years ago, we made this all possible. I look forward to hearing more of your podcasts as I prep for my next Disney World trip this January. Oh, I think Trevor's going this January.
Yes, I am.
I think I'm going this January. That's what I feel like. All right. So let me just say, thank you very much, Kathy. Like I said, that's great to know. I've often thought about this cruise myself. I think it would be great, especially since, I'm not a D23 person. I think that sounds awesome. And I appreciate the button wearing. I think that was appropriate. Again, we appreciate this. This is a great one.
It's a great. That's why I wanted to put it on here. I mean, I don't know how much commentary we have, but we wanted a review of the DVC cruise.
Wait, do I get hand claps for reading that though? Because I thought I did a darn good job reading that.
Someday I'll give you hand claps. Someday. Here.
There we go.
There you go. There's our good special effects here at Welcome Home. I'm a Foley artist, and I didn't even know it. But yeah, it sounds really cool. I would love to go on a DVC cruise, but I mean, I would geek out at like the animators and the directors.
Yeah,
and the I would geek out so hard at that.
I would agree. I think that was the interesting part. The gifts are gifts, right? Like I get it, but for me, besides a special pin, that's not. The sneak peeks from Ralph Breaks the Internet is awesome, and the world premiere of Christopher Robin 1 week before, I think that's also awesome. I like that, but I agree. I think having an actual Disney on board, a Disney person, like actual Disney, like that's awesome. Like,
that is pretty cool.
Yeah, I would definitely do this, but I forget. These aren't any different in price. They just book up super quick, right? Is that what it is?
I don't know.
Man, we're
I feel like this is something we should know.
we should know this.
I'm sorry. I have no sign of ever doing a cruise, so I've just never looked into it.
Dude, I know so horrible to hear. It's terrible. It is terrible. It's almost as bad as Space Mountain. Like it really is. I'm telling you, Trevor.
No, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
But a Disney cruise is so unlike anything else. Like I understand that there's some sickness issues that may be happening in your family, but this is what I would say is that they do a 3-day close to shore do it outside of hurricane season or even bordering up, so you're not worrying about tropical storms, dude, it's the best Disney experience you can have. Like, I hate that you would never experience that, because it truly is the best Disney experience you can have.
And I totally believe you, and I would just feel bad trying to convince my wife to do this and then her have a bad time because of me.
I know, but I think if you put those, if you wrap it around in those things and say, hey, look, I'm not going to do it during the season of tropical storms and or hurricanes or anywhere close to that, and you just totally go out of season where, you know, you do like a January. You know what I mean? Like, you do one of those, and then you do a short 3-day, and you do it in the Caribbean where, again, the water's calm. Like, I think that you would appreciate that. I mean, our last cruise was a little rough, but that was the only one. And again, even though it was rough for a few hours, it was like, yeah, so what? Like, it was still Disney. It was still awesome. It's still an experience. But anyway.
Go ahead, Trevor. I'm sorry.
I was going to say that. I mean, that's totally fair. And I'll revisit the subject with my wife, but I don't make any guarantees.
I'll go on it someday. You know, maybe when I hit the lottery or something, because they are expensive. But I would love to though. Just all the guests that they have there just seem really cool, and I've heard so many great things about the rooms and the entertainment and just the overall quality of it. I mean, I think they're like the number 1 ranked cruise line like every year, pretty much, right? So.
All right, I'm going to read the next one too, because I'm on a roll. How's that?
You were just feeling like reading today, huh?
Sure, why not? So,
right,
Lillian.
Sometimes I just put these things on because it really, inflates our egos. So
yeah.
I think they're a lot of fun. I think these kinds of emails are great, and I'm just going to go on record as saying keep them coming, guys, because we love hearing this stuff.
Yeah,
and I like reading it. It helps. It helps me for presentations. So anyway,
yeah, there you go.
This is from Lillian, visiting Walt Disney World with a senior guest. She says, "Hi guys, I'm a huge fan of the show. I learned a lot about Disney with you guys. It's my favorite podcast. Thank you very much. I love that it feels like friends getting together to talk about Disney and have fun doing it. I don't really like them that much.
We hate each other. There's nothing but animosity.
I'm from Brazil. Recently got into DVC family and already realized how addictive it can be. I can't stop planning vacations or thinking about getting more points. Have 100 at Copper Creek and 100 at Polynesian. That's more than any of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next February, I'm taking my 84-year-old grandmother for her first visit to Disney World. Do you guys think? All right, again, she's from Brazil, so I'm gonna have to reread this for myself. Can you guys think of any tips on visiting Walt Disney World with a senior guest? You would think that Tom would like go through these and kind of clean them up a little bit for me, but no, he just likes to see me kind of stumble on these, I guess.
I was going to read them myself, so,
And that was going to help you how?
I don't know.
Anyway, all right. I'm not taking her on any crazy rides, just on those Tom coasters. Sorry, Tom, but that where Damon came up with it explains everything. It's genius, and I should now because I also have a problem with drops, so I don't do some of the rides, but I do ride Space Mountain, and I promise you it is safe and fun.
I don't like this term Tom coasters.
I love this term.
I like it.
Yeah, I do too. Following Trevor's tip from his vacation, I reserved the dessert party with the Plaza Garden viewing. I think that was a good idea. I think it's going to work perfectly for us, so my grandmother won't need to wait for the fireworks standing for a long time. I would appreciate any other tips that you might have to make her visit a better experience. Hope you guys continue with the podcast for many years. It's really amazing. Thank you very much. Very good. Since I read it, I get to go first. That's what I always like. Yeah. That's why I read it.
That's the only reason you read it.
Of course. So anyway, I think that a couple of things that I would do if I was taking, someone a little bit older. I think the first thing is the button. Like, it sounds silly, but like a first time at Disney button for your grandmother, definitely key. And again, that's a button you get to wear the whole time. It's not even like a gold birthday button. You wear it the whole trip. So I think that's actually a great thing. I think that Epcot is also a great area to do with somebody like that. I think that there's a lot for them to see. Don't skip out on all the shops or shows. I think that's really, I guess, what I would say is that a lot of things that you're going to look to do with somebody that's a little bit older, I think will be shows rather than rides. And I think that that's not a bad thing, so plan your shows accordingly, even the ones that are in Epcot. I mean, I would say, even the ones that might, the small things that might be at the hotel. There's a lot to do at the hotels that you kind of forget about because we're so used to looking at the newest ride. But if you take a step back and you really aren't about the rides, I mean, look what there is to do at the hotel. There's usually a list every day of what's going on. And again, my suggestion is Epcot. Make sure you see everything in Epcot. I mean, there's shows there. There's a lot of things going on there, and I think that's a fun experience.
And I'll add to that about the shows. Shows don't just entail the big shows like you know, watching Beauty and the Beast or the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular. There's actually a lot of smaller shows that go on too that you can.
Favorite smaller show, but I'm gonna go first so you don't steal mine. It's the Whistle Dude in Italy.
No, isn't that in France?
No,
the guys with the chairs.
Dude, does Tom even?
Are you talking about the chairs?
Yes. Does Tom even go to Disney World?
That is totally in France.
Yeah, he's in France.
He's not in France. He's in Italy. I'm sorry.
No, it's the flag guys in Italy. It's the flag guys that are in Italy.
No. So maybe he roams then.
Maybe
he roams. Last time I saw him was in Italy. And actually the past 2 times I've seen him was in Italy. And it's in front of, I mean, it's in the Italian Plaza. Like, there's no way I'm mistaking the Italian Plaza.
I mean, I've only seen him in France, but if we're talking about the same
And I've never seen him in France. Where in France? France is so packed. Are you talking about by the fountain, past the crepe thing?
No, it's like right in front of the restaurant there.
Where the topiaries
Never
are.
seen him there. Wow, that's interesting. So I guess we both learned something today.
All right, so
that guy's great though. That is a great show.
The Italian guy is great, not the France guy though. He's no good.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Trevor.
So my favorite little show. Sorry, it's cheesy, but the Dapper Dans. I love.
Oh yeah.
I love seeing the Dapper Dans on Main Street in Magic Kingdom. Just something about, you know, that style of music, and they always have the chimes and stuff like that. It's just fun. You know, you walk in and it's like the first thing you see, and you can just kind of stop and take it in, right?
Yeah, I believe the official term for this is streetmosphere, if I remember correctly. Yes. Mine is between 2. And that's the Jammers. Have you guys ever seen the Jammers?
Yep, they're good too.
Damon, have you ever seen them? I feel like you dig them.
The garbage can.
Yeah, the guys that look like janitors, and they start, and then sometimes they're also like maintenance guys. They'll do like tools instead of like janitor stuff. Those guys are cool. But I think my favorite is the drummers at I believe it's in Japan. I want to say it's Japan.
The Taiko drummers.
Yes, those guys.
I've never seen them.
And gals. I've seen a woman do it too. It are amazing. We will just stand there and watch them forever.
I highly recommend getting the shaved ice if you're going to do that, because there's a place that sells the Japanese shaved ice, and I like the 3 flavors. Although my son will disagree and say cherry is the best, but
I'm like such like an anti-shaved ice person. Like I find it to be like. It's ice.
Who's anti-shaved ice?
That's the only place I go to get shaved ice.
Now we have shaved ice like in our town where I live, and it's like $1, right? And like I'm all about $1 shaved ice, but like I don't know how much is Disney shaved ice.
$4.
Yeah, something like that. But I guess my thing is the flavors are not flavors that I've ever found locally. So, and the dollar shaved ice doesn't do it for me. I only get it when I'm in Epcot.
Yeah, that's a good. I don't think I've had it there, but that's. Oh, and I just remember too the really amazing mariachi band at Mexico too. Oh, there's so many cool things. Why I can't. I can't decide.
So to go back to the original ask about these shows, since we kind of got sidetracked,
we were talking about bringing a senior
surprise.
to Disney World. That's right. I forgot.
So these shows you can actually find if you have Lillian, if you have My Disney Experience. You can find the times for all these shows on there, so you don't have to stand around somewhere and wait. You can kind of figure out like if you're going with your mom and you don't want to have her standing around for a long period of time, you can actually kind of plan to hit up those shows. So as much as they seem kind of random and streetmosphere, they are scheduled too, which I think is of great benefit.
I feel like the last time I feel like Dapper Dan's though, like I remember I asked a cast member, I was like, when are there Dapper Dan's around? Because I couldn't find the schedule, and they were like, oh, we don't know, we can't tell you. And I was like, and somebody said like, oh, they're about to show up, and I'm like, where? And they're like, oh, we can't tell you. They seem a little more random because they show up in different places on Main Street, but I don't know. I think that's what it was. I saw on the schedule that they were coming up, but they wouldn't tell me where they were going to show up at.
Yeah, you're right. Dapper Dans are kind of a random one because they're not just on Main Street. They can sometimes they'll go on the carousel in Fantasyland, or they'll ride the car up and down Main Street and stuff like that. So yeah, it's kind of hard to gauge that one. But
go ahead. Sorry, Trevor.
I was gonna say, but yeah, most of them you can find out when and where on the majority of those smaller shows.
Yeah, I think the only other thing I before we get too into the shows, the other thing I would say is that, I would consider some sort of, wheelchair-y sort of vehicle as well. So when I go with my mother, we take a scooter. My mother's not that old yet, but we still take the scooter, and I think it's worth it. There's a lot of people there with them. I mean, it's not like, I think it's worth it. It can be tiring, and again, to make sure you have a good time, she's going to want to keep up with you, and it's an easy way to do that. So I would kind of budget that in as well. We get ours from an offsite place, and that seems to work out. I don't remember the name of it, but again, I could always find it if we need it. But I think that's something I would definitely do in this scenario as well. It's a lot more walking than you think.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I took my mother for her 60th. I mean, so obviously she's not 84, but still she's 60. And, her knees aren't the greatest. So, I think I would preach taking a lot of breaks, sitting down when you can, trying to plan around those types of shows where you can
I think
stop.
It's nice that it's February, too. I think you get out of the heat. Yeah.
You picked a good time to go because it would have been really tough to go in the middle of the heat in the summer. That would have been hard for sure on them. So, on your grandmother. So, I think you picked a good time of year. I would just say take a lot of breaks. Like Damon said, definitely the scooter, definitely hit up that DVC lounge if you haven't gone up there. They do have an elevator. You just have to ask for it. So just make sure that you do that because we took the elevator, because just to lessen the load, I guess, on my mom's knees, So I think that kind of stuff is a great idea, and I really wanted to talk about this today because we talked about going with babies, and we talk all these different scenarios, and I think going with somebody that's a little bit older also presents some unique challenges as well. So I think this is a good topic to talk about. Trevor, do you have anything to add? I'm sorry.
Well, no, I think I just wanted to really mention the smaller shows are kind of to Damon's point, like stuff around the resorts. The Streetmosphere type shows. Also, even though it is February, I'm still a pretty big believer of, go in the morning, do stuff in the morning, and then take a break in the afternoon and come back in the evening so you're avoiding the hottest part of the day. I know that's kind of a general tip, but even more so if you're traveling with a senior in your party, just because even myself, you don't realize how bad that the sun hits you until it's too late, right? And you just don't want to get yourself in that position. So, there's no need to rush. Like you said, you're a DVC member. You've got the points to do this. I know that it's your grandmother's first time, but there's still no need to rush. Like, don't feel like you have to get in absolutely everything in one go, because sometimes that actually works out worse than you think.
Yeah, for sure. I think it was super smart that she did the dessert party too. That's a super smart move to do.
I'm actually doing that dessert party again on my next trip because we liked it so much.
But it's also great though too. So like when we took my mom, I knew we wanted to go see Fantasmic. But I knew that we weren't going to want to stand around for a while waiting in line because it was a couple days before Christmas, so it was bananas crazy, like just people everywhere. So we wanted to make sure that we had a ticket to Fantasmic, but we didn't want to stand around. We didn't want to get there an hour early. So we did the dining package, the dinner package for Fantasmic, and that way we could show up a little bit later and know that we had a reserved seat there. And then we also did the dessert party too for the same reason, because anybody that has watched Happily Ever After or any of the fireworks shows, in general, you know that you have to stand out there for quite a while, especially when the park's busy, to get a good spot and to make sure that you're able to see. And so I think it was very smart that you booked that dessert party. I think that's going to, pay off really well. Plus, like Trevor said, it's awesome. So, so that's definitely a benefit too.
I was going to say, do we have any other tips that we can think of off the top of our head? I think we kind of covered some good ones.
Yeah, no, I think so too. I think we've covered some things, and I hope that helps. And thanks for listening to us all the way from Brazil. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that's really neat. And thanks for calling us your favorite podcast. That makes us really happy.
It still blows my mind that we're anyone's favorite, because I still, it doesn't feel like we're that big, but it's super awesome though.
I totally agree with that. I always am amazed when we get those types of things. So we still don't get really hate mail, although I heard, Damon, you read a review on the show last week to somebody that gave us 1 star for some reason.
Yes. They don't know why. They just gave us 1 star. They didn't like it, but they don't know why.
Okay.
You can find that one on Apple iTunes in case you're ever looking for it. But I just was okay.
That's fantastic. I don't care. I mean, it's fine. That's great. But no one's emailed us mean things yet, so we'll still wait for that. So have you guys seen this new DVC merch? No.
No.
You're not into it?
I don't know. I don't
know. I think it's good. I mean, I like the fact that, they're trying to represent all the different resorts with it. For me personally, it's not really my style. So like the shirts and stuff are not something that I would wear. And
I mean, the tumbler is not bad. I'm looking at them now.
Yeah.
But the Vacation
nice.
Club hat says "Welcome Home" on the back of it, so that's free advertising for us right there. It says "Welcome Home" right on the back. We'll just have to stitch podcast next to it, and then it'll be.
See, now we may have Disney coming after us. See, Tom, you don't want to. You don't want to do that. The luggage tags are nice. I mean, I'm just going through the Vacation Club member shirt. I would rock that. I think that's pretty cool. I like the shirt.
I like the logos.
Baseball shirt one. Yeah, I mean the baseball shirt one is nice.
I like that they have these cool logos for every resort. I think that's kind of neat.
Yeah, I think one thing I would like is if they, like, I know everyone wants stuff for their own resort, but I think it would be cool if, like, they had merch for just the specific logos, right? Not
they do.
Everything. Oh, really?
They do have some stuff. Like, so you can customize, like, I got a customized bag.
Oh.
No, they have one from every single resort shirt.
They do, yeah.
Yeah.
They do have the individual resorts.
Yep.
For just the shirts, though, right? Not for all the merch.
I think just the shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you mean just like a bag that just says like Hilton Head on it or Bay Lake or whatever?
Or a mug or whatever, right?
Gotcha. I think so. From what I've read, it looks like this is kind of just the beginning, and they seem to be rolling out a lot more DVC type stuff. And did you guys see the whole thing with the magic bands, the limited edition ones that they put out that are going for like $200-$300 on eBay?
I saw that. I'm not a magic band person, but I will tell you that I've often thought about decorating our own for next time. I think maybe the next larger trip we do, I may do something like that.
That'd be cool.
That's my thought. I don't know how really crafty I am, but the rest of my family is pretty crafty, so I'll just have someone make mine, I guess.
Yeah, I actually there's a site that does skins for magic bands that I've used, and they turned out pretty well. I have a Tron one. My son has a Tower of Terror one, and it's just it's like a vinyl skin that goes over top of the magic band. So
it just kind of slides over it, right?
Well, no, it's like a sticker. So
okay.
So you stick it on, and then it just sits on top of the magic band.
Okay, I would think that would does that not get stuck to your arm or anything? Like I feel like it would rip off all my arm hair.
No. If you apply it properly, it doesn't sit over the edges. It sits just on top of the colored part of the magic band.
I just think of every time I've ever gotten like one of those wristbands that have like the little peel off piece, and somebody puts it on you, and like your hair gets stuck in it. I mean, I don't know about you guys. No one ever puts it on perfectly, and it ends up invariably getting stuck in your arm hair. That's what I was thinking of.
No, it's nothing like that. Like I said, I used them on our last trip, and yeah, they seem to put up pretty well. I mean, we even took them in the pool and stuff, and they didn't come off. So
I bought. I think we bought one Magic Band before. I want to say it's an Olaf Magic Band, and it was one of the older. It was Magic Band 1.0. Like, it was early on in Magic Bands, and I feel like we have an Olaf one, and I don't remember why we bought it or how we bought it or when we bought it. I just know that we have one. I don't even know where it is right now. Couldn't tell you. It's somewhere, but I really wanted the Figment ones because listeners of the show know that I love Figment. They had a Figment one.
Not more than me, obviously.
Why is that? Okay, you kept.
I would never open it.
Pop
I got
Funko?
2 because you can't open one. Like, dude, that's.
Actually,
Again.
this isn't on the agenda. Have you seen the Splash Mountain Pop? What is it? Pop Funko? Is that what they're called?
Yeah. I saw it.
Yeah, those are cool.
There's so many of those though, but that's its own collectible thing. All
I
that
know.
stuff.
So wait,
But
you
anyway.
have 2 Figments?
Why would I not? You can open one and then keep one because real fans, that's what they do.
Real toy people, that's what they do.
No. It's real fans. That's what they do.
I don't care about toys. Anyway,
You should care because it's Figment.
yeah, I do care because I do love Figment. But anyway, let's move on from this.
Oh my gosh.
It's just we're so ridiculous sometimes.
This makes
Trevor,
me
you want?
sad.
Yeah, do you want to read about this one, Trevor? Since
Yeah.
Damon and I have been dominating this whole thing.
No, it's all
the
good.
reading?
So yeah, Magic Kingdom unfortunately is closing the Walt Disney World Railroad and Tomorrowland Speedway during Tron Coaster construction.
And I heard that they're only closing some of it, the Speedway.
Yeah, but I don't see how you can close some of the Speedway and still have the ride running, because that would mean that because it's on a track, right? So
Yeah.
Well, so they're closing the whole thing, but it's from like the beginning of the year to like summer because they're going to reroute the track, I guess.
Right. Yeah. I'm more sad about the railroad because I do really like the railroad. And
Where
and it
is the
seems
railroad? Like, have I ever been on the railroad?
it goes
What?
around the entire park.
What just
Oh.
happened?
The train?
Like, I don't even know what we're talking about now. I
What?
have to like look up a picture of it because I'm like, have I been on the railroad?
For those
What?
that don't know, our logo is based on the Walt Disney World logo, railroad logo. So you would, what?
Where
my
is this
gosh.
railroad?
It goes around the Magic Kingdom.
So you know when you
Where
walk
do you
up
get
to,
on it?
Hold on. You know where you walk up to the front gate and there's the Mickey Mouse floral thing, and then right up the hill there's a train station there.
Nope, I'm too busy getting into the park to rope drop. I don't have time for that.
Well, you walk right underneath of it where the sign with Walt Disney's quote from the
That's
opening
funny though,
day.
because
Yeah.
now like I remember it, I've never been on that. Or if
Oh
I
my
have,
gosh.
like I just don't remember.
Wow. You've never heard like
Wowish.
the train horn like you can hear that. the
Dude,
whole
I'm
park.
rope dropping. I don't have time for that. This is interesting. So I have to ask my wife if we've ever been on this because I think the answer may be no, and that would be a must-do Disney. Wait, must-do Disney? Yes, it will be a must-do Disney.
There you
My
go.
favorite show of all time. The kids love that show, by the way. Must-do Disney.
I love that
Anyways.
show too.
What is Must Do Disney?
Oh, see, making fun of me about the railroad and you don't know
Oh my
must-do
god.
Disney.
Both
What
of
is-
you. Okay,
is that
both
like
of
the-
you just
Hold on.
lost. Okay.
Oh, well, hold on though. Like I think I'm missing what like I think I've seen this. I just am not connecting the show name.
Must Do Disney is the show that runs when you're in your hotel room and
Oh, that
the
thing?
channel. Yeah,
Whoa,
and they show
don't you
all
dare disrespect that. Must-do Disney is the best.
I'm not gonna lie. I find the host of that show to be very annoying.
Oh my goodness, I would think the exact opposite. I was just looking up who that is because I think she's the best.
Everybody loves her. I don't know why. She just kind of
I
annoys me.
love her.
That's like you get in, you're unpacking your
Is her
your
name
stuff and
Stacy?
you-
What's her name?
Yeah, Stacy.
Stacy. Yeah, you're unpacking your stuff and you throw that on because it gets you all hyped up for all the stuff you're going to go do, right?
I like personally. When we're getting ready in the morning, we have the little rotating thing of all the park hours, and because the music that's playing and like the little animations that are happening for each park. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the one
I
we
go to
have.
sleep watching that.
Yeah,
So-
that's
I love
our-
Must-do Disney. My kids love that.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it, so.
Okay, so to our listeners, we have Tom here that doesn't watch Must Do Disney, and we have
I do
Damon who hasn't ridden the railroad.
Theoretically.
So,
Possibly.
Theoretically,
potentially.
possibly. Potentially.
So, what? write in and tell us what you think about that.
Hey, maybe I
polls.
was on the railroad. I'm not sure. I have to ask my wife.
I see, like, the railroad is up there with like my favorite things at Disney. I did the behind the steam trains tour the last trip I went on.
So
I love those things.
It's funny that it seems I am destined to be at Disneyland or Disney World when the train is closed, because it was the second trip I took my son. They announced that they were going to start construction on Star Wars Land, and they closed the Disneyland Railroad at that point. So it was closed for I think it was 3 years. So we did a couple time. Yeah, we did a couple of trips where the railroad was closed. And the cool thing is in Disneyland, they actually had the trains over at New Orleans Square, which is like the same kind of station where the Splash Mountain station is in Disney World. But you could go in and you could actually they let you walk up on the far side of the platform where you normally couldn't go, and they had the engineers there showing stuff off, showing how everything worked and everything. So it was kind of like a little mini museum thing, which was really cool. I do hope they do something like that with the Walt Disney World Railroad, where you can kind of go up and look at the cars, get a little bit more information and all that kind of stuff, because it is kind of neat. I do like the steam trains. I like understanding how they work and all that. So hopefully they do something like that.
They did say that the one of the trains is going to be parked at the Main Street station while it's closed. But I don't know if you're going to be able to go up and ask questions and, go on it and stuff like that. But it is going to be parked at the entrance, at Magic Kingdom right there at the Main Street station. Yeah.
And so since I'll be there in January, I'll check it out and I'll let you guys know if there's anything going on with it. Like I said, it'd be nice if they offered little tours of it and whatever.
That'd be cool. Especially, all those engineers, so one of the things I learned on that steam train tour is those people are not just regular Disney cast members. There's a lot of training they have to go through, because those are legitimate steam trains.
Oh yes.
So it's not just like a push a button, type of thing. There's levers and valves and all sorts of stuff that they have to deal with. So I wonder what those people are going to be doing while this thing is closed for. They didn't say what the end date for this is, and some people are speculating more than a year, because. If you look at the concept art for Tron, it looks like this goes right underneath it.
I would expect there's at the very least, they have to do a tunnel or something, right? You're not going to have people walking across the train tracks. So
no.
Yeah,
I think it's going to go right under. Which will be cool when you can ride the train and then look up and see the Tron coaster right above you. That'll be kind of neat. But it also feel kind of weird because you're on this old school steam train and then you're looking up at this futuristic roller coaster.
I actually don't think it'll go right under the Tron ride. From even looking at the pictures, I get the feeling that it'll be still kind of off to one side.
Yeah, I can see that. See that. It should be interesting. I'm disappointed that it's going to be closed, especially since I'm hoping the train will be open back up when I go in October next year. But who knows? I just hope it is, because that's like I said, one of my. Yeah, I know. It's one of my favorite things, and it's just kind of disappointing. But actually, so this article says during this time, guests will be able to get an up-close look at the railroad and take advantage of one-of-a-kind photo opportunities, similar to what was done at Disneyland. So there you go.
Yeah. So since that's how they're doing it, this is a really good opportunity to see the trains differently than you would at any other time. Which it sucks that you can't ride the train, but it's a very unique experience. So honestly, if you can, try and take advantage of that. It's fun.
And the photo opportunities too, just it's a cool photo when you have the train sitting in Main Street Station. If you're taking a picture of the entrance of Magic Kingdom and you have that train sitting there, just from the outside looking in, it's a cool photo that you can really, you can't get all the time there because the train has to be sitting in the station. So
yeah, and actually also, now that I'm thinking about it, so when I was in Disneyland, they actually had PhotoPass people there taking photos. So you could, we actually got photos of us like standing in front of the trains and everything. Again, things that you wouldn't normally be able to see, but it's you get a picture of your family standing in front of a Walt Disney Railroad train. That's I think that's up there with some of the more unique character experiences as far as rare and cool photos you can get.
For sure. No, I totally agree with that. Cool. Yeah, so, this is disappointing, but it's all for the greater good, right?
Yep, because, hey, Tron's coming to the park, and that's my jam right there.
And that's
so.
gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not going to go on it, most likely. We'll see. It really doesn't. It doesn't make any sense to me because I don't know. Let's not get into this as usual, but now because
have you seen the Tron coaster?
I've seen it. Yeah, I've watched a couple videos. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I think once we get you onto a roller coaster, I think you'll think differently about it.
I do ride some roller coasters. I just,
It's like my daughter. I don't want to ride anything. I'm scared of everything. Oh, that was really fun.
No, my favorite ride at Disney is Big Thunder. I love Big Thunder. So there you go. What?
Okay, fine.
That's a roller coaster still.
It is, but
I know.
You need to expand your palette.
You're not wrong. Anyway, so, and Damon, I know Disneyland not your favorite, but I think this is interesting. So Disney had announced at D23 that they were going to build a new hotel at Disneyland, which is sorely needed, right? Trevor, you can tell me about that because tell us about that because I've never been to Disneyland, but I know there's a problem with getting hotel rooms, right? And Disney's only got a couple hotels there.
Space is at a premium there.
Yep.
Even they do have other hotels in the neighborhood, like good neighbor hotels that they partnered with, but it's still a very packed space. So unfortunately, what this article says is that so the new hotel that they were planning to build has been put on hold indefinitely. And it's because of, I guess, they're not seeing eye to eye with the local or the Anaheim
City Council.
Yeah, City Council. And so because of that, they've just stopped all construction on this, which really sucks because for those that don't know, this hotel was going to take up a fairly big chunk of downtown Disney in Anaheim, and they already had closed a bunch of shops and restaurants and everything in the area with the intent to start planning for this hotel. So that means that you've got a large section of downtown Disney where there's now just nothing there, and they're not
about that.
That's
weird.
Well, unfortunately, I think what this is that Disney stopped doing it because they're kind of playing hardball with the City Council because. Reading into it a little bit more, basically the city council that approved this project back in 2015 or 2016 is not the same city council that is there now. So the people that are on the council don't agree with it right now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
they don't agree with the huge tax breaks, basically.
Yeah, and again, Disney. Yeah, so I don't want to get too much into the political side, but I guess from our standpoint, what that means is that so this hotel, by the way, I know some people have asked us about, is there a possibility that there could be DVC there? Everything I could find, the answer was no. And the big reason for that is that, again, with the way Anaheim does their zoning, they only allow a certain amount of timeshares in the area, and Disney has already used up. They got approval for the timeshares in the Grand Californian. They never got approval to do additional timeshares for this new hotel. So it's not going to be a DVC resort. But again, the problem is that if they're not building this hotel, then again, the question of, well, will there ever be more DVC stuff on the West Coast? Doesn't look very good right now. That kind of sucks.
No, it really does.
Yeah.
It's kind of a crazy story because basically Disney was going to build this hotel about 1,000 feet away from where they're going to build it now. They originally had a different address basically for the new hotel, and they got these tax breaks, and then they decided they were going to build it where downtown Disney is, and which is a different address than where they got the tax breaks. And then the city council, as you mentioned, it's a new city council, and they're like, no, this is a different address. We're not going to change the address on this. So, like you said, it's Disney playing hardball. they're trying to get them to. I mean, and you're talking about a ton of money that Disneyland brings to that city, right? I mean,
yep. I mean, yeah, I understand why they have to. They can't just let Disney run around and do everything they want, but at the same time, that's a lot of jobs. That's a lot of space that is not being used at the moment. So, I mean, I sincerely hope that, something happens sooner than later and that this doesn't just sit like this for, the next 3 or 4 years. But again, we'll have to wait and see if they come to any sort of agreement on it.
I hope they do, because I definitely think it would be good to have more hotel space there, especially with Star Wars on the way. They're gonna need more hotel capacity. I mean, it's inevitable. So we should probably wake Damon up. If we were sitting next to him, we'd hit him with a stick or something, because he probably fell asleep talking about Disneyland.
Yeah, I was pretty bored there.
Yeah.
Well,
so here, if you want to wake up, why don't you tell us about your most recent adventures?
Oh, I get to talk about my trip now?
Yes.
All right, listeners, we'll put a little mark in there so you can just skip right ahead to this.
It's just a bookmark.
Yeah, just in case you want to, just get to the fun
I'll put it
stuff.
in the description. Interesting part starts at 50 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So I took a really interesting trip. So I'll just kind of explain. I'll explain kind of my previous couple weeks and then where I'm going tomorrow too. So I went to Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. That was, gosh, man, it feels like forever ago at this point. Gosh, we do these every 2 weeks, right? So I want to say that was last Thursday, I think. Maybe last Thursday? Yeah, it might have been last Wednesday or Thursday. Anyway, so I went to Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. No lines. Ridiculous. I've never been at a park like this ever. So check this out. For, 5 hours, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. I think in 5 hours we rode 12 rides. Woo, which is unreal.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's just unreal. I think the longest...
Are kids back at school? And
they are. So in the South,
why.
Kids are back in school. So the longest we waited was because of a rain delay for the Griffin. I rode everything. And again, I rode things that I haven't ridden at Busch Gardens because I've been too scared to ride them. So, I mean, Tom would go there and just do nothing. But, Tempesto, which, I always, have kind of given, the side eye to. I'm I'm not doing Tempesto. We've never been able to get on it because the line has always been long. And even when the line wasn't super long, I've kind of always just kind of avoided it because I'm Tempesto looks a little scary. I rode that. That was crazy. And then rode Apollo's Chariot right after it. Actually, the problem was for me is I was riding so many crazy roller coasters in such a short amount of time that after I got off of Apollo's Chariot, I was like, yo, my tummy needs a little break. I need to take a tummy break from it. But it was a great trip. Now, when I was there, my plan was to actually visit both Busch Gardens. So to hit the one in Tampa 2 days later. Now, that plan did change. So what we ended up doing is, because we had season passes to Williamsburg Busch Gardens, we were able to go to SeaWorld, Aquatica, and Tampa Bay Busch Gardens for free because we had the premium level pass. I also included free parking, by the way, which was also very awesome. So we decided we were going to go to Florida. We stayed at the Gaylord Palms. I don't know if you guys have ever stayed there. No?
Nice.
Okay.
No.
It's awesome. So it is... Oh, man, I'm gonna say this, but I don't even want to say this because I'm gonna be stuck saying it's gonna be forever on the internet. Man, it is really nice, Disney level, right?
Nice. Yeah.
At $206 with breakfast, with an omelet chef and the whole 9 buffet, a full breakfast, not bad, right? When you start talking about hey, is that cost effective? It is. Now, the only downside is that there's shuttles that do run from there to the other parks, but I want to say the Downtown Disney one was you could hit it at 3 times or twice there, 2 back. They were just, the hours were not going to work, right? Even for the parks, it was tough to make them work, but the price was great. We love it. Like I said, it is one of our favorite hotels we've ever stayed at, and that's inclusive of Disney. It is great. So we ended up going there and we said, you know what? I think that we're going to nix this Tampa Busch Gardens because we just hit Busch Gardens up. The rides are very similar. Let's go and do 3 days at the parks, and let's do Aquatica and 2 days at SeaWorld so we can kind of slow roll it, right? Okay, cool. So that's what our plan was, and that's what we did. So again, no lines. Now, this is what's interesting, because I read an article about this, like, is SeaWorld and, Aquatica, like, really destination parks, or are they local parks? And that's up for debate. But what I'll tell you is that I was pleasantly surprised for both. Now, Aquatica, from previous episodes, I'm a big water park person, and Aquatica was voted by USA Today, I believe, as the top water park in the USA. And I can understand why. It had the best rides. And it's tough for me. The one thing I will say, theming wise, and my wife brought this up too, Blizzard Beach is themed better. And I will say that Typhoon Lagoon has a better, what's it called? A better wave pool. I mean, I don't think there's any wave pool better than Typhoon Lagoon, but the rides at Aquatica were great. Now, I believe it has an Australian theme. I think that's what they were going for, but that's what my wife told me kind of after the fact. It wasn't like prevalent in my face, like where I was obvious. Like, no, it really wasn't. But they had rides that were just unique, right, in terms of what they were. And I have a funny wife story. Me and the kids were just absolutely in tears laughing. So we do the dolphin plunge. That's the one where you kind of go in this clear tube that goes under the water, and there's, dolphins in the pool as you're going through. That's cool. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah. And then they had, they have the dropouts, the dropout ride, which is, again, you're up and like the bottom drops out and you shoot down. Like, probably a Tom favorite is my guess.
But I don't like water parks, so,
You said you don't like water parks?
Yeah, I don't do water parks. We don't like water parks. My wife doesn't like water parks.
Anyway, so what was nice about this one is while it is at the same sort of quality as the one in Busch Gardens Williamsburg, which is also one of our favorite water parks, it was longer, which was really cool. So that drop slide was really, really nice. But they had this thing called Tassel. I don't even remember what it's called. Something with a T in it, right? But this was the cool thing. You actually had to get on the lazy river to get to it. Like, you couldn't just get to it as a regular ride. You had to get on the lazy river, which was awesome, right? I thought that was cool.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, and the ride itself was fun. Now, they have the best lazy rivers there where you don't actually need a tube. It's a fast lazy river where you put on a life vest instead.
What?
And it's so fast that it just kind of blows you along. Right?
Wow. You just in a current, just...
Yeah. And they're really fun. So they had one there as well. They have one in Williamsburg, but this one was a little bit longer and a little bit better themed. So the wife story is, this is funny. So we're going on all these rides, and there's this thing called Ray's Rush, and it's, I guess, the new one. And it's like, it's got the kind of taco-y shape, the big thing, and it's got all these funnels and this and that. So my wife kind of, it's my birthday, by the way, too. So, right? So we go there for my birthday. Again, I didn't bring my pin, but it was Aquatica, so I don't know what benefit that would have been anyway.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Happy belated birthday.
We get there, and we're like, all right, I can see my wife is like, oh, she doesn't want to do this. But, she's going to troop it out because it's my birthday and it's the kids. So we're getting closer and closer and closer to the top. And, like, she's getting, like, a little out of her gourd now, right? Like, you see, like, she's going to well up. Like, she's telling me that she might start crying. And we're like, what the? Like, so you have to remember, I have my 8-year-old daughter who hates anything that looks scary, and she's like, what is going on here, right? So when you get to the top, what's funny is there's two sides. So there's this like thing called Walla something, and then you have Ray's Rush. So we get to the top, and she loses it. She's like, I just can't, right? So I was like, you're not going to walk down. That's so far. Like, look, like our daughter's going on. We have the people behind us are like, you can ride with us because it's a 4-person seat thing. And like, there's 5 of us, right? So she was like, well, the people behind us, so they were from England, and being nice English people, like, well, she can ride with us. There's only 3 of us. And I was like, I don't think that's the problem, right? Like, I think so the guy, finally I said to the guy, cause like, she's almost like frozen with fear here. Again, she hates water parks, by the way, but it was my birthday, and she's a good wife. She's a trooper. So this is just so funny. So I say something to the attendant. I was like, look, they call them ambassadors there. I said, say something to the ambassador. And I said, hey, my wife just can't do it. And he's like, oh, no, don't worry. He's like, she'll ride the other one down by herself. Okay. So they have like this little special section for like single riders that like can't ride Ray's Rush, that have to go down this other water ride, which we were just on previously because Ray's Rush was the only thing with the line, and it wasn't even that long. But so we had ridden this and we're like, oh, that's like kind of boring. So what's so funny is she's like almost in tears. She could have actually been crying at this time. Doesn't want to be up there, just wants to be down. and they put her on the single tube, like this huge tube that should fit 4 people by herself. And it's the swirl of just despair because it's swirling up there and she just can't, like, it's just not letting her go down. It's the swirl of shame and she just doesn't know what to do. We're laughing our butts off at her. We're like, swirl of shame, swirl of shame. And it's just going round and round, and the guy eventually has to push her down because it's meant for like 4 people and she's just caught up in the current as one person.
The weight,
oh my goodness. We had a blast. Like, we couldn't stop talking about it all day. But the ride, Ray's Rush, was also very, very good. Again, a great water park. I could see why it won the award. Again, not themed as well, but great. So then we go to SeaWorld for 2 days. Like I said, we kind of like, take it real nice and slow. We rode Manta for the first time, which is our first time at, I guess, I don't know what they actually call them, like those flying coasters.
Oh,
it's a VR coaster too, isn't it?
No, that's Kraken. So let's stick with Manta for a second. Yeah. So Manta's the one where like it feels like you're flying because like you're in the seated position, kind of what I feel like Guardians of the Galaxy is going to end up like, and then it kind of mounts you up so your face is facing down.
Yeah.
Like you're in a flying position. So that one's really, really fun. The first time it was a little scary, but like super, super exciting. It had some G's on it, maybe not as high as some other coasters, but it felt pretty high in that back loop when you're in that position.
Yeah, on the outside, right?
Yeah, it was absolutely great. And then it had these like twists in it that really, truly felt like you were flying. There's not been another ride that I've ever felt like truly like I've been flying. And that was the ride, and it was well done. The nice thing about SeaWorld is a lot of the queues have aquariums in them as well. Or they have an aquarium right outside the ride for people that are waiting for you. So that is actually something that's very nice.
That's cool.
And I'll tell you, there was no lines there either. Again, like absolutely no lines. The only thing we waited for was Manta. We waited for it both mornings because it takes them a little while to get it kind of cooking. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
It takes a while for them to get it right. I guess there's always like little tweaks here and there. So the Kraken. So we did ride that, Trevor. They did not have the VR at that time. I don't know how that works because sometimes it's VR, sometimes it's not. They had the VR goggles like zip tied closed. I don't know if my stomach could have handled that. That's weird. That's like, cause it's big, man. It's not small.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's VR. So I don't know what my stomach would have said to that. So I'm kind of glad. The ride itself was actually pretty fun just in general. The only thing I did not ride was the Mako. And again, it's pretty much like Apollo's Chariot. And it had a lot of up and downs. And we've been on like so many coasters, like because there's no wait for anything. I kind of had to say no to that one. So I said, you know what? I rode that like 2 days ago in its other iteration. So I skipped the Mako, but the kids and my wife loved it. They said it was a better version of Apollo's Chariot and they really did enjoy it. So the aquariums, we also saw the Shamu show, which is a little bit more educational now. We saw the Sea Lion show, which was very good as well, and walked through the aquariums. But the penguin experience is probably the best thing that they have there. It's a ride that has real penguins. It's like it's like an interactive experience where you can say mild or you can say wild, I guess, whichever one it is. And we did the wild one, and it still was not that wild, just a little bit of spinning. But it's an experience for sure. And then we did, I guess it's called Wild Arctic. It's like, it's a version of Star Tours that like is neck snapping. Like if Star Tours was neck snapping and like you're in a helicopter instead of on a spaceship, and it's like a neck snapper. We all get off this ride like, oh my goodness, I feel like I've been beat up. But it was still pretty fun. Again, like in the older version of Star Tours, not high def, not as smooth. That was the thing about SeaWorld. A lot of their screens were not like full blown high def. They were, regular. But I'll tell you, the penguin experience was good. They had a soda over there, a special soda, which was actually really good too.
Cool.
I'm a soda nut, even though I don't drink it a lot now. But it was a great experience. We broke it up into 2 days, like I said. Now, what was nice about it is that, the tickets for myself and my 2 sons were free because we had the season passes. But even for everyone else, I mean, the deal was pretty good. 3 days, I think, for $129, which is not bad. So we did Aquatica and 2 SeaWorlds. And then we ended up doing at night, because it was my birthday, we were like, oh, let's go to Disney Springs. So here's the interesting part about Disney Springs. If you go to Disney Springs at like 4 o'clock, there's nobody there.
Just dead.
Yeah, everyone's at the parks. Like,
Well,
why would they be at
sense,
Disney
yeah.
Springs,
Makes
right?
sense, yeah.
So we did the chicken fingers at Guy's, and they were really, really good. Wow. So let's talk sauces, right? Because here's the cool thing too. I don't know if this is all the time, but they have a sauce dude, and he's got sauces and holsters, and he just comes around
of sauces.
Yeah, but like you get like he only has like a couple of them, and since they're free, right? Because sauces, you only get a certain amount of sauces per. Like he just comes around, and maybe he comes to you, maybe he doesn't, and he tells you like, "Hey, man, I got some of these sauces. You want to try those?" And you're like, "Oh yeah, I want to try those sauces."
It's like an arcade where like the guy would have the coin thing on his.
The quarter.
Oh yeah, he's got sauces on. And he was nice and he was funny. All right, so I mean, I'm going to tell you like kind of what sauces we did. We did the special sauce, which was good. We did the donkey sauce, which was good. Chipotle ranch was okay. Wasabi honey, which was the one I was looking forward to. Kind of a downer. Like, it wasn't that good. Like, it was fine, but, like, nothing that good. So, the best one was the bourbon brown sugar barbecue. Wow. There's not even a question about that. Okay. I would say, though, number 2, which came in rather nicely, was the avocado crema was really good.
And you were down on that one before.
I was down on that one, so that one was pretty good. Now, the teriyaki was a tough one because while it was good, I did Morimoto's, so like I tried to stay away from it. So I would say, though, that, man, even maybe better than the bourbon brown sugar was the Nashville hot honey. And that one wasn't even like hard to make. We also did the spicy mayo, which was okay. But so I'm going to go top 3 sauces here. It would definitely be the bourbon brown sugar barbecue, the Nashville hot honey. And then, man, this third one becomes a little bit tougher. Maybe the special sauce, I guess. I'm going to say special sauce. But it was a fun experience. It was packed, though. That was the thing.
Oh, really?
So the day that we went was packed, and then the next day, because we went to Disney Springs 2 nights in a row. I ate way too much food. The next day we went a little bit earlier. We went at probably like 3:00, and there was like nobody there. So we did Morimoto's though, because again, that's my favorite. Was my birthday. I did the Korean barbecue bowl. Had the bayo pork things. Ate like 10 million of those. I feel like we had a really good time there as well. We did sprinkles. It's okay.
Overrated?
I don't know if I say overrated. And I'm going to go on record saying that I'm a whipped cream icing sort of person. I think any sort of buttercream or any other sort of like icing to me is just a little too sugary. That's why I like the whipped cream icing. So, I mean, it was good. They felt sugary to me, though. Like, even the cake part of it, I don't know, like, to me. But that's just me personally, right? So
I've heard that also on like, I watched Tim Tracker. And they've said that as well, is that sprinkles just comes across generally as that there's just too much sugar, right? They're not.
That's what I felt like.
Yeah.
And not that it was bad, but I mean, just.
Yeah, you have to have a real sweet tooth for it, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, overall, I mean, that was my trip. I'm glad I got to go to Disney Springs. We went to the Coke. Like, we did some things we wouldn't have done. Like, we went to the Coke place. We didn't get anything, but like we kind of went and we're like, oh yeah, Coke place.
Have you done the flight there before, by the way?
No, I looked at it and I was like, well, I could just get this free at Epcot.
Well, yeah, but there's like a whole bunch of more flavors though that they don't have at Epcot.
Yeah, but there was nothing I was like, and again, like I try to limit my soda, and I had already kind of OD'd on soda over at SeaWorld, and there's this special Arctic vanilla polar something, I don't know, which was awesome.
Yeah, also, if you're having sprinkles and then Coke, that sounds like bad news.
Yeah, so yeah. I like I said, I avoided that, but again, Morimoto's was great. Like I said, we did not sit down to eat. We stayed outside. I'm trying to think about what else we ate, because we did eat some more things. We ate the French fry place where the poutine or whatever.
Oh, yeah, the little poutine cart.
Yeah, I did the Latin one, which was pretty good.
Daily poutine, I believe it's called. Yeah,
so I did that. There was something else. I think my son get a hot dog. I think he's from the hot dog cart. I don't know. There might have been something else that was involved over there. Like I said, I ate way too much food, though. I think Morimoto's like, I got my fill. Like, I got my Morimoto's fill, for sure. But it was fun doing that as an experience without being at Disney, right? It changed the whole sort of dynamic of Disney Springs, where you kind of put it in there as like, I feel like I got to go and I'm in a rush. I got to get back to rides. I got to do this. I do that. We were done with parks, like I think each day by like 3:00. One day I think I fell asleep. We went back to the hotel. I might have napped out for like an hour, 2 hours. And again, there was a huge water park at Gaylord Palms that they put in like $4 million into, and it was brand new. So we did that as well. So it was, I mean, we ate there a couple times. I mean, it was an interesting trip. It was fun. It definitely was fun. And then tomorrow I'm going to Hilton Head. So
are you going to go to that Italian restaurant I told you to go to in Hilton Head?
No, probably not.
What? I don't even
what was it called again? Hold on a second.
I don't even remember the name.
I think the problem is I'm going from people. So some of my friends from New Jersey are meeting me down there.
Yeah.
So I just I don't think I'll do that. Like if again, I'm going to end up doing a YouTube video about this, about my favorite places to eat in Hilton Head. But that all being said, I don't think Tom's is on my list for right now. But I may try. But if you remember the name of it, let me know. But so we'll be in Hilton Head. We're actually going to be close to where our friends are staying is going to be close to the DVC resort. Like I said, I've been there once.
Yeah.
I'm going to make this is going to be a shorter trip. I think only 3 to 4 days maybe. So I don't think we'll stop in, but we will be over that way. So if anyone's there.
Yeah.
So you should at least say hi to Shadow while you're there.
That's the thing. I kind of want to do that, but
yeah.
I'm on such a short trip. And again, like I'm tired. Like we just got back from SeaWorld. I'm literally getting up and going to Hilton Head tomorrow. Like, and I just went to Busch Gardens Williamsburg before that. Like, I'm just tired. Yeah. So
time for a relaxing vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, just relaxing being home, I think. So this was, like I said, an interesting one. But I had fun at Disney Springs. I think that even if you're down there and you're not staying at Disney Springs is a fun place to go. Just in general, I think it's fun just to do. So we had a good time.
There's a lot of cool stuff to see there.
Yeah, but everyone should go to SeaWorld. Listen, go to SeaWorld. It's well worth the money. It was fun. The rides were good. It's laid out nice, and there's a lot of things to learn. Like, man, the dolphins are like right there. Like, there's a lot to learn at SeaWorld as well. I think as an experience for kids, they really did enjoy it. But there's rides there too. But they had a fun time. And again, they had a fun time. So
and. I think that's great that you did do that, and that you guys did have a great time, because I've wondered about that too, and I'm sure a lot of people do as well, because as much as everyone loves to go down and go to Disney, is you do think about the other parks like Universal and SeaWorld and stuff like that. And I mean, honestly, I really kind of want to go to Aquatica now. So.
Aquatica was really fun, Trevor. If you're a water park person, like I said, I temper this because I don't know if it's because I've been to Blizzard Beach so many times, but Aquatica felt better. Again, USA Today has voted it the best water park, so I would agree. And then you see Volcano Bay in the distance, you're like, oh man, I got to do that too. So that's the last one on my list, because when you look at all kind of the parks down there, the only other thing that like people will even mention is that Gator or whatever, and I have no interest in that. So
was it Gatorland?
Yeah, something like that, Gatorland. But Volcano Bay is still on my list of have to do, but I'm glad I got to Aquatica because they have been kind of trips that I've wanted to make, and I wrote everything, you know what I mean? So, and and I do want to mention though that my parents did come with us, and it was very nice. They came with us. They rode, a bunch of rides, not a ton at SeaWorld. They did like, I want to say that they did the Wild Expedition, Wild Arctic, which my mom was, regretful of doing that. But they also did the Penguin one, and they did a few other ones. What's also interesting there is they have, and again, this is funny because I never would have expected this. So you guys aren't Busch Gardens people, but at Busch Gardens they have something called Escape from Pompeii. It's a very short water ride, very, very short. Well, they have this Escape from Atlanta, so we all kind of assumed it was the same thing. And I was like, who wants to go on that? And then we're like, wow, we have all this time. Let's just go on it. And it was not. It was like, it turned from a water ride into a roller coaster at the end. And we were like, oh my goodness, What the heck happened here? So and there was nobody on it. The people in front of us had rode it 6 times in a row. Like that's how like crazy it was. There was like we walked on everything.
I watched a thing about that ride because it used to be like this really, really, really cool ride, and then they kind of dumbed it down. I think.
I don't know. It was pretty good.
It used to be called something else, I think. But never mind.
Also, to put all this in context, this is all like first 2 weeks of August, so. It's still summertime, right? Like it should.
It was hot, man.
But it should be busy. Like this is still like prime vacation time. So you would think that.
Well, you have to remember though, in the South, right? Which is again, so let's consider SeaWorld a little different than Disney and Universal, right? And that's kind of, I guess, what we're getting at is that maybe you can call that not a destination park, but a local park. And it's not a knock on it because I had a great time. But what they're kind of saying is that you're not going to travel just to go to SeaWorld, right? So you're going to get a lot of locals and you're going to get a lot of people that are on extended vacations and things like that. So think about if you took out most of the locals from Disney, right? It would be a lot different. And I think that's kind of what we're getting at here is that because the kids in Florida are already in school, and even kids like in Georgia are already in school, they're not there. You know what I mean? So, and again, if you're going as your one trip every couple years, you're probably going to Disney, right? You're not going to SeaWorld, if that's the case, or it's a money issue. I don't know, but it was not packed at all. And again, Aquatica, phenomenal. Like I said, I mean, well worth it. Just to go to Aquatica, to be honest with you.
I'm pretty surprised you haven't gone. I kind of assumed you were going to go to Volcano Bay while you were there.
So the thing that made it different for me is that do I want to go to Aquatica, which is voted the USA's top water park for free for 3 of us, or do I want to pay Universal prices and go to Volcano Bay?
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That's an easy one.
That's That's fair.
Yeah, so that's what we ended up doing. And again, well worth it.
Makes sense. All right. That's a great trip recap. Thanks for sharing all that. Appreciate it.
And I'll let you know about Hilton Head when I get back.
Yeah.
So I'll have another trip update when I get back.
Have another trip update. I don't know if we need to go through this rumor that we have.
No, let's not.
I'll just... This rumor's dumb.
It'd be cool if it happens, but
it keeps coming
We're
up.
talking about the Wreck-It Ralph to replace Stitch, which Stitch is the best ride ever and should never leave. Well, Aliens was the best ride ever and should never leave. That and Ellen should never have, left.
Interestingly enough, Disney now owns Aliens, so they could actually use...
So I'm going to get off of that for a second because, again, that is done to death. So I will say, though, if Guardians of the Galaxy is an indoor Manta, I'm on board. Oh. Like, I may even say that while Ellen was my favorite ride of all time, if that is the case, if you're talking about a flying coaster like that, I'm on board. Because that was probably, again,
that's what the rumor
only
is.
2 rides have made me feel like that ever. The first was Lightning Rod, where I was literally giggling and laughing the whole first ride when I was on Lightning Rod. Me and my wife, that's a Dollywood. We just couldn't contain ourselves. The kids, crazy, just laughing, having got off and we're like, wow. Manta, while it's not the first one of those. I mean, I know, Tom, there's Superman at Six Flags, right?
Superman, yep.
Okay. I wouldn't go to Six Flags, so that's just me personally, right? I value a lot of things that make me not want to go to Six Flags. So
that's the park I grew up going to. So
I grew up going to Action Park, and that's a whole nother story.
Oh man, me too.
That's where I grew up going to.
Me too, Damon. We should just do a whole show about Action Park.
I'm not even from the States, and I know about this place.
So this is I'm going to give you a little bit of insight into Action Park, but again, we're off topic as usual. So because there was people in my family that knew the owners, I got to go to Action Park whenever I wanted.
Oh wow!
For free. So I spent a fair amount of time at Action Park. Let's just say that. A fair amount of time. And I enjoyed my time there. But I did not do a lot of Six Flags. But anyway, since I didn't do Superman, Manta was that ride too. We got off of that. You should see our picture. Normally the pictures my kids are trying to do something funny or they're trying to do this. We were just, all 4 of us, straight up smiles. You couldn't even contain it. It was so much fun. So I think that was really, really an experience.
Well, I hope Guardians lives up to that if they're going the same route for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And whatever someday replaces Stitch, hopefully that's cool too. I'm so tired of that rumor because that rumor comes up every 3 months, and it's all right already. When are we going to know what you're going to do with it? Because it's because it's a seasonal attraction. I wouldn't be surprised if they open Stitch back up again while the Speedway's closed.
Do you know how happy I would be?
They might. I mean, it's possible. Yeah. They're gonna have 2 things closed that are people eaters. I mean, they're gonna need another people eater, which that one is. So I don't know.
I feel like nothing's gonna actually happen with this until after Tron's done at this point, because why would they it's just more construction inside of Tomorrowland. Why would they do that?
Yeah. I agree, and I don't see them going VR with this either, especially if they're going to do. We talked about a rumor 2 episodes ago about them putting a Wreck-It Ralph VR thing into the Void. Mm-hmm. If they're going to do it there, they're not going to do a Magic Kingdom. And plus, just the whole.
I'm looking forward to that though.
Oh, that would be, that's going to be so cool if that happens. But I hope that happens because I'd like to go do it. Although
I don't know, they do have a Ghostbusters one, and I will tell you that I think that would be pretty awesome too.
That would be pretty cool too.
Yeah,
right. Because the thing is, just holding a proton pack,
and firing it,
that seems pretty awesome.
That would be,
and they do have that. I mean, that exists. It's just not. It's at one of their other locations, one of the Void's other locations. There's Ghostbusters, there's the Star Wars one, and then there's a Satan Devilly Spawn one or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can look on the website. They've got locations all over the place.
All right. So I'm wrapping it up.
Yeah.
Dude, you had a lot of Damon today. I like that.
Yeah.
That's always a good episode. All right. So the email address, welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. Please keep the emails coming. Like I said, we've gotten a lot of emails. We're very appreciative of that. Again, the website is out there for, you want to see some old, interesting or non-interesting tidbits about us. We always look forward to questions. If you have questions, please let us know. This episode's not going to air till Monday, though. I'll be gone at a Hilton Head. Sorry, everybody. But I was there. Let's see. So social media, Twitter doesn't count anymore. I'm just not even going to bother with Instagram or Twitter unless Trevor's there, and then we'll mention them. So Facebook, @Welcome Home Podcast. Please follow. Please like it. Please do whatever you can to get our numbers up. We want to hit 1,000. 1,000 would make us all quite happy. So please, try to help us out there. Also, I think that what we're going to start doing is we're going to make it a little bit more social. I mean, it is social media, right? So expect to see, posts here and there from us. We've gotten some good feedback from people that have responded to some posts. Again, we're not going to get into huge debates there. It's a safe Disney place. Everyone's very friendly. So, it's going to be one of those pages. So expect us to kind of have a little bit more. I may end up, putting some stuff up there, as well from cartoons or other Disney things as we kind of go down that path as well. An interesting tidbit for everybody is that, I don't know if I told you guys, but the Disney Animation YouTube page has been posting all the introductions from the old cartoons from the 80s and 90s.
Oh.
It kind of feels like it's leading up to them releasing them back when they do the streaming service.
That's going to be so awesome.
Shows I totally forgot about, like Dave the Barbarian. Please tell me you know about Dave the Barbarian.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
And I was like, I totally forgot about that show. I was like, wow, it's back.
Forgot about it until this very moment.
Exactly. So they are doing that. So we can have a whole, that might be it's a Damon's Detours. It might be one of those. We have to talk about Dollywood too.
I just want to when that streaming service comes out, if they have the whole catalog, I will just sit there and watch all the old DuckTales. I'll watch Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. I
have all the DVDs of those, so I watch them. But anyway,
I will binge.
There's lots of fun, obscure ones, too. I think me and Damon could get into it if we really wanted to.
Yes, but since we're at the end, we're already over an hour. Mm-hmm. So also, we ask for reviews on iTunes or other services used. iTunes is a big one for us. I mean, if you're going to give us 1 star, though, please,
tell us why.
you don't know why. I don't know why I didn't like it, but I didn't like it. That doesn't help us grow as a podcast, right? If you really don't like it, I mean, we've gotten some, feedback, let's say, and no one's ever upset about it. I mean, it is what it is. We're looking to do better in general. So please, give us our reviews. We'd rather, if you're going to give us a bad review, at least send us an email first. Let us try to correct something. But if not, we ask for all reviews on iTunes and all that other good stuff. So
yeah, and don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. That way when we put one out, it sends you an alert and downloads it for you automatically, and when we have a new show out. Because sometimes we get emails and Facebook posts like, when's the next episode? And it's, if you subscribe to us, you don't have to worry about that. It'll just pop right up. Of course, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, any podcast app out there. Just search for Welcome Home. You'll find us pretty easily there. And, of course, as always, just a reminder to our listeners, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company, and as such, any and all opinions we express on the show are our own. So if you have any questions about anything we talked about today, consult a DVC representative, talk to a cast member, for more information and to answer any questions. Damon, anything to promote before you go on vacation here?
No, I don't think so. Like I said, I have some things cooking, but nothing as
Nothing
of
yet. All right, cool. Join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion and, of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert AWOL, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
We do a huddle when we hit a chair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl.